Alright, so hopefully you've watched the video on finding out your network settings. That's going to be important to you when you go through this Wireshark lab. So another thing that I'm going to show you is how can I look and find other devices on my network for this particular lab. So we need this Word document, and you can upload this into Google Docs if you don't have Word, so you guys can get to this. The Wireshark you needed to download in the previous lab. I think it was 37 something, 379 to be able to do 3710. So I'm not going to walk you through an install because everybody should know how to install an application. But when you launch Wireshark for the first time, it should eventually show you your network adapters. And you can see that there's data. It looks like a heartbeat monitor because there's actually data hitting these network cards. So in the previous video, I showed you that your gateway was your router address. Most gateways or router addresses can be accessed. So if I put in the address of my gateway in my web browser, it should bring you back to a login page. Now, if you've never changed your default username and password, you should be able to look up online the answers to how to get into your piece of equipment. If it was provided by AT&T or Comcast, you'd have to call them and ask them. And sometimes I think it's printed onto a label on the back of your actual routers or devices, so you'd have to go find those in your apartment or houses. But you should be able to actually log in. So I'm going to type the password of my router. And in there somewhere, there's going to be a section on your clients. It'll say something about DHCP monitor or DHCP leases or IP clients or DHCP clients. So in here, in this particular box, it's called a monitor. So when I click on this monitor, you can see IP addresses of other devices on the network. So this is pretty cool because I might want to test connectivity between myself and another device. Let's see if I can get to this 118 and this 112. Remember, we use ping to test whether we can talk to a specific device. You can see I could ping that other PC, and the other device is not responding. Now, does it mean it's not there or not at that address? No. It just means that I can't talk to it for some reason. It could be that it's unplugged. It could be that it doesn't permit packets to be sent to it. Let's see if there's anything else out here that we could talk to. Oh, phones. Phones let us talk to them. If I can tell if it says running SIP, I'd recognize the model number. So let's do an 84. If you press up arrow, you can save yourself a little time. So I pressed up arrow and then I just backspaced over the last address, which is the host part, and then changed the number. And you can see I can send a ping packet. So now that I know that I have a couple of addresses on the network, and I found out where to find those things inside of the router, let's see what they want us to do in this lab. So we're troubleshooting analysis software. Say Wireshark is a software protocol analyzer. Basically, this tool allows us to capture data on the network so we can use it for diagnosing why we're having problems. We need a PC with internet access. We've got that. We have other devices on our network. So hopefully you're in a home, you got an apartment with a roommate that has something, you got a TV online, you have a router. There are devices on your network if you have an internet connection that you can use for testing. So here's your IP config. Already walked you through that, so you should already have your IP address information. Next it says start Wireshark. We know that we installed it in the previous lab 379. So I've already started it. It says navigate to Wireshark, double click the desired interface. So let's just use the wireless network card. So I'm going to double click. And what we should see is a lot of information start scrolling. Okay? And the reason this is scrolling is anything that's going in and out of my wireless adapter is being captured. So this is all the communications that your device is sending. So this is kind of cool because if we had some rogue application on our machine that's making outbound connections, basically we just started our computer up and there's nothing going on, we probably shouldn't be having a whole lot of traffic. My computer actually has a bunch of tabs and different applications open, so there is a lot of communications going on. Alright, so we scroll down a little further. They want us to take and use ping. So the filter causes all data in the top window to disappear. Alright, so it says for this lab we are only interested in icmp or ping. So just so you guys know, the ping that we're typing here is an application. We're actually sending what we call a request to an address. So when we put this address here, we're saying, hey, I'm requesting whoever has this IP address to send me a response. And then we're getting an acknowledgement if we're successful. So when we are unsuccessful, we don't receive the acknowledgement and we'll have a timeout. I thought we had a timeout up here on the screen. Yeah, right here. So when we did the 112 and we didn't get a response, we didn't get an acknowledgement. So instead of getting a reply that's successful, we get a failed response. So we're going to walk back through those again, except what we're going to do here is there's something called a filter. So we can actually type icmp and press enter. So this is version 4, this is version 6. We're using icmp version 4. And I'm going to press enter to apply that. And you can see my window is empty now because now we're only seeing ICMP traffic. So we send an ICMP request and we're expecting an ICMP reply or an acknowledgement. So we do ping. I'm just going to use the up arrow. We're going to hit 118. And we'll hit 112. And I'm going to explain to you why we're not getting data in this window. Alright, so I have two physical network connections here. I've got the wired, which I'm unplugging. The wired connection is a 1 gig connection in my office, and I have a wireless connection. So because I got two network interfaces, when I sent this ping command, it preferred the faster wired connection. So now that I've unplugged, let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. We've got data. So we just sent the 112 where we were not getting replies. So we sent requests. We should see those inside of our captured data, but we are not getting replies. So I'm sending those queries. Alright, so now we can actually see that we have data. We're capturing ping or ICMP. So you have to enter the filter and apply it. I pressed enter to apply it. And then we have to go to the command prompt and send pings to devices on our network to be able to see the actual traffic. Now, ping is an application that only works where, one of the things we're discussing right now is OSI and TCP/IP model. So the ping application sends ICMP. ICMP only works up to layer 3. So our packet is leaving our network card at layer 3. It's jumping onto layer 2. It's getting put onto either a wireless Ethernet or a wired Ethernet. Eventually goes through some routers and things out onto the internet, or it goes onto our local LAN. It gets to our end device, The end device receives it, opens it up at the physical layer, moves it up into the data link, which is the actual network adapter, and then from the network adapter it talks to layer 3 protocol, in this case TCP/IP or IP address. And if that's the right machine, that machine is going to respond with a reply if it's allowed to. So if you don't get replies, these are some causes right here. So if you have a team member, your parent, your roommate, friend on campus that you're using machines and you're not getting replies from one another, but you're on the same network, it could be that the team member is blocking you. So remember, we have these things called firewalls. They're now built into the Windows devices. And if those are on and we don't have ping allowed, you're going to get blocked. If they're running a McAfee firewall or Windows, it doesn't matter. If there's a firewall in play, Norton, it will stop packets. So we got to make sure we allow ICMP or ping. I can show you on the Windows side. I'm going to right click and go to Network Sharing Center. There's a Windows Firewall section. And so right now mine is off except for public. If you look at this, there's an allow app through. It brings you to this section here. There's something called Microsoft File and Print Sharing Service right here. And as a part of this, if I look at the details, there should be an ICMP section inside of here that's turned on. You could add a rule for ping or ICMP. But as long as you've got the file and print sharing service checked and allowed, then we should be able to do pings to our network cards. Alright. Every firewall is going to look a little different, but you're going to need to adjust that if you want to get responses. I'm going to kind of let you guys go through the rest of this lab so I can see what kind of results that you get from here. But they want you to identify things inside of the Wireshark traffic. So does the source MAC address match your PC interface? So you got to remember where I told you the MAC address was. And then we got to look inside of Wireshark. So the request is sent by you. That 86 should be your address. And so if you look at the Ethernet source, it shows us the source MAC address. So this is the MAC address that should be me. And then you're going to match that to the address through the configuration on the computer. So you're going to have to go look that back up. The great thing about Wireshark is it shows you all of the layers. So you can see the type of message. I can see IP, layer 3. I can see an Ethernet frame, layer 2. You can actually see the data. So what did the data look like? And just so you guys know, if I'm able to get in between stuff, a lot of times I can put it back together. So I can actually capture a whole phone call if it's unencrypted and put it all back together and play the whole audio for it. So remember, we use phones on side of networks now too. So, but anyway, the Wireshark is a pretty awesome utility because we can use it for a lot of things, security testing as well as troubleshooting. So, but this gives you a good idea of what they're talking about with OSI because you can see every section, every layer, and all those things that happen. Alright, so you guys finish that lab and upload it so I can see what kind of information you get back. But they're going to have you guys do some more testing here with some remote. And you're going to get interesting results when you do the Cisco. I'll post a discussion on this, so hopefully you guys can find the right answer and post it into the discussion board. And after a few days, I'll go back in there and respond in case somebody didn't get the right answer. We'll be interested to see what kind of answers you get as to why some of the MAC addresses look the same and things. Anyway, I'm going to shut it off and we'll move on to the next lab.